Good afternoon, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. You know, if you're a Trump supporter and you're looking over the field of candidates that the Democrats keep rolling out there, and every day it changes and more people get into the clown car, it's really easy to kind of sit back, look at this, and just think, man, if this were a football game, we're going to kill them. These guys are terrible. They stink. This is going to be a total blowout. But let me snap you back to reality for a minute. Let me take you back to the re-election of George H.W. Bush. He was running against an unknown governor from a failed state who had a hippie dingwad wife that the news media, they hated her right from jump. I mean, even the liberal media. And she was, in her own way, kind of a little bit of a gaffe machine, that she didn't say things that first ladies were supposed to say at that time. And then out came all of the fact that, you know, Clinton had done everything that he could to dodge the draft and get out of Vietnam. He had smoked pot. Then there were all these women, and women still coming forward. And this was at a day at a time where, you know, come on, George H.W. Bush sank the Gary Hart campaign over an affair. Why, Bill Clinton's going to be a walk in the park. Not to mention, George H.W. Bush had won the Gulf War. Remember, when that war ended, George Bush's approval rating was something like 90%. 90%. And he lost to Bill Clinton. Now, Ross Perot had something to do with that. No doubt sucked away votes that would have gone Bush's way. But Bush was inept at handling the economy. He seemed aloof and out of touch during the debates on the economy. And as James Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. And here comes Bill Clinton and Hillary Rotham Clinton into the White House and into our lives forever. Oh my God. But nobody thought it was going to happen, including George H.W. Bush. He was convinced, well, the war is going to put me over the top. And it didn't. Fast forward a few years. Barack Obama, charismatic, well-spoken, could really move a crowd. But most people thought, even in the Democratic world, well, it's going to be tough. I mean, John McCain is a war hero. He is a steady hand. He is a seasoned politician. And he's got a good-looking running mate in Sarah Palin, so they went after her, made her look like a dope and a dupe and a stoop. And Barack Obama, given softball questions, never really got into his background. He was kind of like the man with no name in the old Clint Eastwood movies. You didn't really know who Barack Obama was, so you could kind of paint him any way you wanted to. But the media fell in love with him. But again, people on the right really thought there's no way the country is going to elect somebody this, at that time, radical. Who won? When he was running for re-election and his numbers were tanking, out comes Mitt Romney with the golden smile and the perfect Ken doll hairdo and the poll-tested answers, and knew how to carry himself in the primaries and through the debates. And he was so smooth, so polished. Who won? Fast forward 2016. Now, I'm not saying that the media propelled Donald Trump, but definitely during the primaries, they had never seen a primary where, you know, one Republican went after the rest of the Republicans. And I mean ferociously. Remember, the old Ronald Reagan mantra was, do no other Republicans harm. You know, you don't talk bad about other Republicans. Donald Trump did. He immediately went right after Jeb Bush. Why? Jeb was at the front of the pack. Donald, when he first announced, was at the back of the pack, obviously. Nobody even took it seriously that he was there. So what did he do? He went right after Jeb Bush. In fact, the liberal media got it. Chris Matthews over at Hardball on PMSNBC said, Donald Trump is in it to win it. And he's going to throw punches. And we're about to find out if any of these Republican lightweights can take a punch from Donald Trump. And they couldn't. You know, low energy Jeb, little Marco, Lion Ted Cruz. Nobody will ever forget those. And then when he got the nomination, the Democrats said, this is great. Can you believe we get to run against a reality TV star? This is going to be awesome. And this guy, certainly because he had beauty pageants and has been around women, we've certainly got all kinds of stories that we'll be able to break on this guy. He's toast. Wait till October. Wait till we drop the tape of him talking about grabbing ladies in the hoochie. Who won? Hillary didn't even bother to go and campaign in the Rust Belt. She didn't go to any of the traditionally Democratic strongholds. Why? Donald Trump can't win. They didn't even do what Democrats do best during election cycles. Cheat. They didn't have dead people voting. They weren't dragging in the homeless off the streets and just, having them vote 3 or 4 times in 3 or 4 different polling stations. They didn't do any of that. They were so confident that the American people would never vote for Trump. Now it's 2020. Let's not be the group that says this country is never going to vote for Beto. This country is not going to vote for Bernie. This country is so done with an old man like Joe Biden. Nobody in their right mind thinks that Kamala Harris is anywhere near ready to be the president of the United States. Are you feeling me where I'm going with this? And again, Mr. President, don't just sit back. You got to lead now. Lead, lead, lead. And you got to make something new happen. You can't just keep going out there and talking about what you've done. You got to do something now that the American people go, yeah! Because unfortunately, they do have short attention spans. And even though the economy is rocking and rolling, and the Democrats, I'm seeing all these headlines on conservative news sites, Democrats can't gain any footing on the economy. Well, we understand why. It's doing so well. But Mr. President, don't fall for the fact that the American people will necessarily give you the credit for that. And people have a bad habit when they get spoiled, when things are going too good, they get kind of fat and lazy, they start taking things for granted. Well, maybe we could give the new guy a chance, see what he could do. Or they feel like the economy's been so good, it's easy when it's been so good like this to forget what it was like under Barack Obama. To forget what it was like when Democrats were calling the shots on the economy. So you got to do something now. But I want to say to all of you conservatives out there, all of you pro-Trumpers out there, and I is one. In fact, I was the very first one in media on my radio show the day Trump announced. I endorsed him immediately. I had been lamenting. I almost sounded like a manic depressive Michael Savage for a couple of days before Trump got into the race, talking on my radio show about, I can't do this year, gang. I can't do this. I can't keep sifting through all of these Republican nothings and thinking that somehow in what we got running is going to be able to mount a reasonable campaign against the treachery and the evilness of Hillary Rotham Clinton. I knew, and Jeb Bush, what, we're going to have a rematch of a Bush and a Clinton? Give me a break. Out of 300 million people, this is the best we can come up with is a redo? Come on. And I knew Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, they would get their lunch eaten by Hillary. When Donald Trump got in, I went all in. I mean, all in. In fact, at that point, I became an absolute Trump apologist. In the state of Florida, I should say President Trump should thank me for the state of Florida because I was unmerciful on Florida radio against Hillary Rotham Clinton. In the places he needed somebody to be pounding on the air, I was doing that for him. Even when Rush Limbaugh finally got on the Trump train that he was going to be the nominee, he was our guy, but even Rush kept kind of holding back a little bit. I was the first, and I am absolutely unashamedly a Trump apologist, complete and pure. And when people who are on the Trump train turn on Trump, I turn on them. That's why bipolar and in heat Coulter, I'm done with her. I want nothing more to do with her. Rand Paul, you're dead to me now. I'm sorry. And I liked you. but you're dead to me now. And now we got Paul Ryan, who did everything he could to obstruct the president when he was running the Congress. Now he's on the board at Fox News. If you don't see what Fox News is pivoting and aligning itself to do against this president, so all you Trumpers out there, we have to stay together. We've got to recruit more people. We got to get the word out, and we got to make sure not one of these Democratic lunatics gets their hands on the White House. Are you with me? If you are, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell, get my next rant. God bless.